Hello, and welcome to EURAXESS Smart Talks.
The Smart Talks podcast series is an EU-funded EURAXESS project which provides information and assistance to researchers at any career stage.
EURAXESS support the EU research area in its ambition to create a single borderless market for research, innovation and technology in the EU.
We support researchers in mobility, careers within and outside academia, innovation and entrepreneurship.
We strive to increase scientific collaboration between Europe and the world. Hi, I'm Daria, a senior expert at EURAXESS National Contact Point in Latvia.
And I'm Jovan, a teaching and research assistant from the Faculty of Mechanical Engineering in Niš, Serbia.
And you are listening to the EURAXESS Smart Talks podcast.
Our guest today is Mary Kagendo Kobia, Senior Global Mobility Consultant at the University of Copenhagen, where she has spent nearly a decade supporting international researchers and their families in their transition to life in Denmark.
With a background in communication, marketing, and international development from CBS and Roskilde University, Mary combines her global experience with a deep passion for people, inclusion, and talent development. Having grown up between Kenya and Denmark, she brings a unique intercultural perspective to her work in career coaching, mentoring, and dual career services. Hello, Mary. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much. What a lovely introduction. Thank you.
You're welcome. We tried our best. So maybe let's start. Tell us, please, about this opportunity that you provide for incoming researchers that is called Dual Careers, and what is it about?
Well, before I answer that question, I just want to say thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here and to talk about something I'm deeply passionate about, because this thing around supporting international researchers and their families, this is something that is very, very important. You know, for me, dual career services isn't just about employment, it's about belonging. We help families understand the Danish culture, navigate practical things like school, childcare, and a lot of things. So for me, like, relocation is never just about a new job or a new university working at that. It's about people, relationships, identity, and building a life in a new place. So this is what dual career services is all about. And to answer your question, what is it we do at the University of Copenhagen? I would like to provide just a bit of context so it makes more sense why we have this. The University of Copenhagen is an old university, almost 600 years old. We're 10,000 employees, and then there are about 38,000 students. We currently have 3,000 international researchers, and about 30 to 40% of them, they bring a partner or a spouse. So in terms of the dual career services, why do we have it? Why is it important? It's important because of three reasons. In terms of retention, if the partner is unhappy and unable to continue their career here in Denmark, Copenhagen, then the family is not happy. And I think the second reason for having the dual career services, it's all about well-being and the sense of belonging. You know, when you move to a new country, it's a huge life transition. How do you get around? How do you find a job? These are the things we help with. And last but not least, a lot of these spouses, they are an untapped talent pool. They often have higher education, they're multilingual, and for for this reason, you know, we also have to look at them as talent. I know this was a very long answer to the question, but I just wanted to provide a bit of context.
No, that's great. And these numbers are enormous, actually, for someone from Latvia. This is really 3,000 researchers. I understand that it's really urgent dual career services to provide for them.
Exactly. And for your information, the dual career services at the University of Copenhagen has existed for the past 12, 13 years. So if you're thinking, do we know what we're doing? Do we have a network? Have we done, things before? We have definitely a lot of experience in this area. And in terms of resources, I am a senior global mobility consultant working at International Staff Mobility. This is an in-house mobility consultant group. We're about 20 consultants, and what we have specialized in is helping our researchers and their spouses, international researchers, with small things, big things, tax, immigration, pension, housing, language, childcare. So when we started ISM in 2008, there were 2 people employed. Today, we are 20 consultants, so we have grown. And if you're thinking, how many people work with dual career services? We are actually 2 colleagues in my team that support the spouses, the partners to the international researchers. And I'm just providing this context because sometimes we hear, oh, how did it start? And this also, I think, is important. Mhm.
This sounds very positive, like a great opportunity. And speaking of opportunities, how can researchers find dual career opportunities, explore them, and get in touch with you?
That is a wonderful question. Most people, they hear about our services through the university's onboarding communication. When people are hired at the University of Copenhagen, they usually get an employment contract. And in terms of the employment contract, you can actually indicate if you have a partner or a spouse, and if you would like that they are reached out to in terms of getting dual career services. So this is something that is actually integrated into the onboarding documents and so forth. We also have people who reach out to us directly because they've seen information about dual career services on our website. So it can be people who are coming. Right now, I'm sitting with a faculty recruitment. They will be coming to Denmark in August 2026, but we've already started, you know, looking at the CV, looking at the cover letter, providing information about the job market and things like that. So my key message is we cannot start too early. We can start too late. So basically, the communication is integrated in the onboarding material. It's on our website. And since we have been conducting dual career services for the past 11, 12 years, we also have a lot of faculties, institutes that know we exist, and international staff mobility helps a lot of internationals and their families.
Mary, thank you very much that you already a little bit addressed my next question, but I wanted to ask you about how long or how long before in advance researchers should be interested in where they come, what exactly they need to be prepared for, what kind of documents they should provide. What would you suggest? What would be the best timing for them?
Absolutely. And I really like your question because what you're talking about is the needs of the people who reach out to us. We meet a lot of people who have different needs. And I'd like to be specific and give examples. A while ago, I had an American spouse and I had been communicating with her, having online meetings, explaining what is our dual career services about. We had this pre-coaching, pre-meetings, I think 3 months in advance. When she came to Denmark, the first thing she did was just grab my arm and then she was squeezing my arm. Then she said to me, Mary, you're real. Then I asked her, yeah, I'm real. I know I'm real. And then she had to explain to me, well, holding my arm really tight. The reason for why I'm saying you're real is because my partner and I, we have been at so many universities, so many institutions, prestigious places On their website, they say they have dual career services, but behind the scenes, there's no one. It's just beautiful text, branding text, but there's no one. So she was holding my arm and saying, "You are real." And then I had to explain to her, we are very real, and we have been doing this for quite a while, and we have the know-how, the experience, and we have a lot of methods to apply. So I think this story has a lot of different key messages. The fact that the way we work, it's very hand holding. As you said, it requires resources. And for your information, what we did this actually 2 years ago is, we could see there was a growing demand from partners, spouses who needed more, one-to-ones, career services and things like that. So our team, Dual Career Services, actually expanded with 2 people. Before, it was only me and my colleague Mark conducting this, and now we are more. I have a lovely colleague called Kathy. She conducts a lot of one-to-one. So this is just to showcase, if you had asked me like 10 years ago, dual career services, the rhetoric, the narrative around the spouse, is that something you prioritize? And it's like a lot of people would have said, yeah, it's a soft thing. Yeah, whatever. But today we can see it is a hard core thing in terms of retention. And we have quite a few cases where people, they say, well, I have an amazing contract at the University of Copenhagen, but what can you do for my partner? So this becomes leverage. So this is very important for me to also disseminate these soft things that were once soft. You could not measure them and things like that. Now we can measure them, and they're vital in terms of retention, creating job satisfaction, and basically what we can say, um, we at International Staff Mobility, we don't just relocate researchers, we relocate families. When the family thrives, the researcher thrives. So we have a lot of data around this from the EURAXESS reports and other, projects we have been taking part with. And in this podcast, you also get all the links to our reports and data around it. Thank you.
Yes, exactly. That will be posted on our social media and as well on our Buzzsprout account.
And getting back to how you help, are the options only connected in regard to universities, or are they also available in companies?
Well, this is a beautiful question. How do we help? Our dual career services, they're not only limited to universities. We have collaborations with companies, municipalities, local service providers, industry networks. Many spouses, they actually transition into roles in the private sector. It can be biotech, it can be sustainable to digital transformation and design. We have like an alumni of spouses who reached out to us to let us know, oh, our company is hiring. Do you know anyone, within the spouse database, spouse network that would be interested? So it's very important for me to disseminate that we have a lot of network and collaboration with local service providers. And we also are part of an international dual career network. And this is a network that actually connects spouses with employers actively seeking international talent. This is the International Dual Career Network. And I will make sure that you also get a link so you can explore how this network actually benefits and creates a lot of opportunities.
These things are really on an individual level, as
Absolutely. And just to be honest with you, one thing is I don't believe in a one size fits all solution. Instead of having a static job database, we offer tailored individual career support. What does that include? It includes one-to-ones career sessions, CV and cover letter feedback, networking strategies, and introductions to relevant contacts and organizations. We conduct in average 2 to 3 career events per month. And this is something we're very, very proud of. And if you're thinking, well, Mary, you're saying you have 2 resources, you're conducting all of these one-to-ones, and then you have all these events. How do you make that
Exactly.
work? You must have endless resources and, so forth. Just to answer that question, what we do is we know a lot of our spouses, they are actually an untapped talent pool. A lot of them know something about something. So we actually create a platform for them to moderate, to facilitate, to talk about, communication. Some of these people, they are psychologists. Some of these people, they know a lot about, PowerPoint, or they have insights into something related to recruitment. So what we also do is we also tap into the volunteers, resources, know-how, and so forth. Last but not least, we have a huge network of people we know, we have collaborated with for years, who work in unions, who work in a lot of different companies. So what we actually ask them to do, and this is like free of charge because, we are connected, we are friends. We ask them, would you like to do a presentation about your company? Could you explain how you use LinkedIn in the recruitment process? Could you give us some insights into, when you screen, how do you use AI? So a lot of low hanging fruits are there in terms of tapping into your network. And actually, my key message is, if you're about to think about starting dual career services, there are so many things you can do which are very low key. You could look into, what are the service providers doing? What are the what is the municipality doing? Could we have a website where we just link to these services and just make sure that this information is disseminated? This is very low key. This is, disseminating information about existing services. And then if you want to take it a notch up, you could start looking into in your network, in my network, who is it I know? Oh, my neighbor works in this company. Could I get my neighbor to come and talk a bit about recruitment? Wow, this is very low key. So I'm just, I think it's important to be very specific in terms of how do we use our resources? How do we use our network? And last but not least, since we have been doing this for more than a decade, we have a huge pool of people, spouses who have jobs, and we can easily draw on them, and they're amazing ambassadors in terms of them coming and telling their story and sharing their insights around how did I get that job in Denmark, how did I pick up the beautiful Danish language, how did I survive the winter, and so forth.
All of this sounds absolutely amazing. I'm considering moving to Denmark now.
No, Jovan,
Why?
You're
you should
welcome.
you should stay.
uh,
You're too welcoming, Mary. Thank you. Now you will be recruiting everyone now with all these services.
Yeah, but everyone is welcome. And, for me, it's really, really important to just disseminate, this story around the dual career services. And I cannot emphasize enough. When I started this work, I've been working at the university for 11 years. If someone had told me, fast forward 11 years, the dual career services is going to be really, really important in terms of retention, in terms of, creating sense of belonging for the partner and so forth, I would have said I knew it, but I didn't know it would have this huge impact. And I think what we are doing and I've been doing for more than a decade. This is something I'm very proud of, and I'm very proud of, what my colleagues, my marvelous colleagues at international staff mobility do, because we help with small things, big things. Oh, my cat, my dog. How do I get my cat, my dog to Denmark?
This is
And then
important,
we have,
by the way.
yeah, this is important. And then my partner, um, so we deal with a lot of, transitions, if you can say this.
I love everything you said, especially the part about a sense of belonging, which you also emphasized at the beginning of the interview. And in regard to this, a sense of belonging, some researchers have already started their family leads in terms of social services and support in this area. Can they count on any information about kindergarten, schools, and so on?
Absolutely. As I explained earlier, we are about 20 consultants. There's actually a colleague of mine, she's called Dorte. Dorte has specialized in the area of schooling, childcare. So any questions related to that, Dorte is the go-to person. We also have people who have very specific questions regarding tax, pension. Then it's other colleagues, the caseworkers, who know a lot about the legal stuff and things like that. And I really like to just give you a small example regarding when people, they move from A to B. I had a spouse from India, and she was working in finance, and she had a very senior profile in banking in Mumbai, I recall. And then when she came to Copenhagen, I asked her in our first one-to-one, what would you like to do? Then she just looked at me, then she said, Mary, I want to do exactly what I did in India. And I know you have a lot of banks. The finance sector is huge in Copenhagen. Then I looked at her, then I asked her, so how many hours did you work? Then she said, well, when things peaked, I did my 50, my 60 hours per week. Then I had to emphasize, and ask her, but why do you want to work so hard? In Denmark, we're known for work-life balance, being this work-life balance country where we have flexibility. And then I can remember she just looked down, and then she looked up. And then when I looked her in the eyes, I could detect a bit of burnt outness. And then she said to me, well, Mary, to be honest with you, I really didn't like my job. I had challenges with my boss. And to be honest with you, I would love to do something else. But when you asked me this question, I didn't know what to say. I just wanted to do a plug and play. And the reason for why I'm sharing this story is because I meet a lot of amazing talent, amazing spouses, partners. When they move from A to B to Denmark, they have an idea. I want to do a plug and play. I want to do whatever I did in my previous country. And I like to challenge people on that. And most of the times, people, they they would actually like to do something else, but nobody ever asked them, what would you like to do? So for me, this thing with supporting internationals, working with global mobility, it's about turning things around, making them, transitioning, instead of it's a challenge, it's horrible, it's nasty, to an opportunity. So this is something that is very vital for me in terms of sense of belonging. For me, it's not important that the partner, the spouse, gets a job. For me, it's important they get the right job. And just to go back to the spouse from India, after quite a few one-on-ones, she revealed, to be honest with you, I've been dreaming of having a family. And to be honest with you, I don't want to work so hard. Then we made that happen. And she got her child in Denmark. Things changed. So you have the job stuff, but you also have the stuff related to sense of belonging and, feeling comfortable in a new country. I hope this story resonates with you.
Thank you very much, Mary, for already covering a lot. And I have a little bit more questions. First is on the statistics side. How is this service actually popular among researchers? And the other one is for how long do they come? For example, it's contract based for 1 year, 5 years. Could you explain a little bit this issue?
I really like your question because, when it comes to popularity and impact, my experience working in this field for more than a decade now is I can see there's a steady growth in demand of our dual career services every year. As I explained, 2 years ago, we had to have more manpower because, we needed, there was this increasing demand for, career services from spouses. And one thing I can see is that if I should come with data or percent, I would say that more than 60% of our partners who participate in our programs either secure employment, they pursue further education, or engage in meaningful professional activities within the first 12 months. So I think it's really, really important with these dual career services. And in terms of the growing demand, we can also see how do you say the other question was more related to short versus long-term contracts. What we can see is that this support is equally relevant for people who come to stay for 3 years. If it's a postdoc, a PhD, it's a brief, thing, but people who also extend or get renewed their contract, these services are beneficial. So it's both people who stay short and long term who use our services.
Thank you, Mary, for a very smart talk on dual careers. It was most enlightening, and I'm sure it is going to be very useful to our listeners who are considering to moving to Denmark.
Thank you so much. And if I should say something, like closing, what I would highlight is that I think it's so important to support the families, to our researchers, because as I mentioned before, when you relocate, you're relocating the entire family. And when the family thrives, the researchers, they thrive. And we can see that is something that is a retention, and that is something that is very, very important. So if there's anyone listening out there, whether you're a researcher or a policymaker or a part of an organization, I would say remember behind every talented researcher, there's often another talented person waiting for the right opportunity. And when we support them, everybody wins. And the university wins, everyone wins. So thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Mary, and thank you also for joining this podcast to show that EURAXESS services are not only on the webpage, but behind the webpage there are real people, and Mary is real, as we know it right now, to help to provide necessary information and these dual career services as well. So thank you very much for impersonating this someone who is behind these web pages with welcoming information.
Thank you so much. And I just want to emphasize, I think the EURAXESS network is doing a brilliant job in terms of disseminating information from people who work in this area. And I'm so delighted to do collaboration with other partners in the area of dual career services. So thank you to you. Thank you to this huge network for all your hard work and the people we collaborate with in the different projects. So a huge thanks to all of you.
And thanks to you.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the EURAXESS Smart Talks podcast.
We hope that you enjoyed this episode and can't wait to share more with you next time.
You can follow us and find more episodes on the EURAXESS portal, our social media profiles, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
This episode was prepared by hosts Daria Aksionova and Jovan Aranjelovic, editor Isar Peer, and is dedicated in memoriam of Professor Miroslav Trajanovic.